I was convinced we wouldn't have to have this walk this year. I was convinced when we first started walking in 2014 that we'd be one. We had a movement. Movement was begun by many, most inspirationally by Granny D, and so many people believe, a vast majority of Americans believe, that the corrupting influence of money in politics has taken our democracy. And because so many people believe that, I believe naively, stupidly, those words don't go with Harvard Law professor when describing themselves often, but let me do that, naively and stupidly, that would be enough. That in a democracy, what the people believed would be enough. That all we had to do was to show people believe that, and then the democracy would say, okay, fine, that's enough, that's all we need. But it turns out that's not all we need. We need a strategy and sweat and a strong, strong movement to force them to give us our democracy back. And that's what you're doing. That's what this movement has been doing. That's what happened in New Hampshire. That's what Granny D has inspired. That's what's happening across the country. That's what Kai and the Democracy Spring did when they went down to Washington, and 1,300 people were arrested, promising that they too would continue to push to get us our democracy back. We're part of a huge movement, a movement that will prevail, not as quickly as I thought it would, but it will prevail. We will get to the place where every single politician says what that sign right there says, public funding of elections, now is the time. Not in the long run, not in the future, now is the time. And we have to make that happen. So I'm grateful. You will make that happen, and this walk will be just one more step on the way. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, this on the back says not.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth a separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them. Decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
It does not come as a surprise to any of us that the society we are living in is unjust. In fact, all you have to do is turn on the news to see that communities are in complete uproar due to the systemic impediments stacked against them. Regardless of the matter at hand, though, there are some that are benefiting from this system, which are more oftentimes wealthier white people, and clearly some that are not, which are more oftentimes than not low-income people of color. I am only 19 years old and can affirm that I have seen more injustice in my lifetime than many people ever do consciously confront. The views of many people of color, young people, people with disabilities, and the working class are all stifled because of the funding given by special interest groups, super PACs, large corporations, and labor unions. Our opinions do not matter, and that is not synonymous with free and fair elections, which are guaranteed in this nation. In my eyes, small changes in cities and states that are conducive to everyone are the important first steps in the fight to fair, accountable campaign spending and a government that is truly of, by, and for the people. Because we see this as a huge threat to our democracy, we should indeed be committed to change. We should be the ones out here advocating for the We the People agenda like we are today. The state of the nation is the people's responsibility, contrary to the reality that a few people have taken matters into their own hands. We must hold ourselves, as well as our representatives, accountable for true democracy. As Mohandas Gandhi once said, be the change you want to see in the world. We cannot live in fear of the unknown because we are America's only hope for lasting change. Thank you.
Win. I want to win this fight in time for us to solve the problems we have to solve as Americans. Climate change is not going to wait for Jasmine to graduate from college. Climate change is not going to wait. We can't wait to address the problem of inequality in America for another 20 or 30 or 40 years. We can't wait. So are we going to win? Yeah. I want to hear hell yeah. Are we going to win? Are we going to win? One more speaker. Let's win this one finally. Thank you.
And we are going to win. We are going to win. We have a path to victory to pass public funding in New Hampshire and to pass the We the People reform agenda here locally. And we're going to work until we pass it locally and pass it in Congress. And we're going to walk again from Granny D's house in Dublin to downtown Peterborough August 13th. We hope you can join us in the Monadnock region. And we're going to keep fighting and keep working to win. And so I hope you continue to join us, continue to come to the office and make phone calls like Laura was, and join us in every way possible so that we can get to a place where our democracy is not bought and sold. So thank you all so much for being here and have a great day.